Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Ben Griffith, and this is the Ben Griffith Breakdown. So in today's episode, of course, we are going to be talking about the invasion that is currently taking place in Iran. And in case you have been living underneath a rock for the last 5 days, United States, along with Israel, invaded Iran. And in a matter of days, we have taken out their Air Force, their Navy, their air defense, all of their other weapon systems for the most part, outside of some attack drones and that sort of thing. And we've also decimated their leadership structure. In the first day, in the first round of attacks, Israel took out high-level leaders, including their Ayatollah, who is their supreme leader. We've continued that effort ever since. Yesterday, actually, Israel took out another 88 leaders who incredibly stupid, were gathered in one place to vote on the next supreme leader. Israel found out about it, found out where they were, and leveled that building to the ground. If I was advising the Iranian leadership today, I would tell them, look into a Zoom subscription and maybe start using that, because what you're doing is not working for you at this point. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Why we did this, in conjunction with Israel, what led up to it, the legal misconceptions and the lies that are being told around this, including the congressional approval debate, the hypocrisy and duplicity from both sides that goes around that debate, and finally, where this goes from here and my predictions on how this moves forward as per usual. So let's get into it. Why are we there? The obvious reasons for this are they have killed hundreds, if not thousands, of United States civilians, servicemen and women over the years. They conspired to kill Trump, a sitting U.S. president. That has been proven. They are the largest state sponsor of terror in the world, and their proxies in Lebanon and Yemen and Gaza have killed hundreds, or not thousands, of Israelis. They have attempted to build nuclear weapons that they were not supposed to have. They are attempting to build more and longer range ballistic missiles every single year. And they have maintained an oppressive regime for 47 years that 70% of Iranians reportedly do not want in power. And they've been killing their own citizens by the tens of thousands, is what have been reported. So that's the surface level rationale. But that's not the whole chessboard. There's a lot of pieces in play here. And what people don't realize is that geopolitics is rarely linear, right? It happens in layers, not in straight lines. So there's a lot of different moving pieces that people don't see under the covers. And what people don't get is this does not just hurt Iran. Our two biggest geopolitical adversaries in the world right now are Russia and China. So by taking out the leadership in Russia, we are depriving, in Iran, we are depriving Russia of the drones that it buys from Iran to attack Ukraine. We also then obviously deprive Iran of the money that it's getting from Russia for those drones. We also deprive China of cheap fuel. There are sanctions on Iranian oil, so they can't sell it to anyone. And the people that will buy it, who are not taking part in the sanctions, if no one wants to buy your product, the people who are buying it want it for cheap. So China has been buying this for pennies on the dollar and been sustaining their economy with that cheap oil, and reportedly have been buying 80 to 90% of Iran's oil. So now we stop that as well, which hurts China. The other thing is that was also the tactic in Venezuela that a lot of people don't realize. The whole thing in Venezuela had a number of different pieces to it, but a huge piece was denying China cheap oil from Venezuela. They have sanctions on their oil as well, and China was buying it from them as well. And now we've started to interdict their tankers that were headed for China. So this is a part of a much broader effort to destabilize China's economy by limiting their energy supply. And that will absolutely work. So, and beyond economics, this is a demonstration of military force and is a message to Beijing considering regarding Taiwan. Taiwan, in an imminent invasion from China, is a threat that's on the horizon for us. that we'll need to deal with at some point. We want to make sure that China sees the military might of the United States and knows that we're not afraid to use it. Now, if anyone's doesn't know the full take on Taiwan and wants a little bit of comedy, I would highly recommend that you go watch the AOC answer on this when she was asked about it in Munich. If you haven't seen that, everyone should go and look that up and check that out. It's pretty good. So, but again, this was not just about Iran. This is about the global balance of power and how it affects all of our geopolitical adversaries across the world. So, question now is, how did we get here? The way that we got here is by decades upon decades of Iran negotiating in bad faith over and over and over again, saying they're going to do something and not doing it. They have never once ever entered into an agreement where they did what they said they were going to do. And not only that, they knew they weren't going to do it when they signed the agreement. They signed the JCPOA with Obama back in 2009, I believe. Almost immediately started rejecting the inspections. They'd say, you can inspect here, but you can't inspect there. If you want to inspect there, you're going to have to come back in 2 weeks. This is the equivalent of the cops going into your house looking for drugs with a warrant, and they find a door that's locked, and they say, we need to get in that room, and you saying, well, come back in a couple days and I'll let you in there. No, that it doesn't fly there. It didn't fly with the IAEA, the nuclear authority, right, that did the inspection. So on top of that, in that same time frame, the U.S. delivered $1.7 billion in cash as part of a kind of a settlement. It wasn't officially part of the JCPOA, but it was. That Iran, that we had taken from Iran, that we had seized, and we quote unquote gave it back to them, which we should never have done. But and it's widely thought that money was used to buy more weapons and to give to their proxies. And quite frankly, that some of those weapons they bought probably killed U.S. servicemen and women with the weapons that were bought with that money. And they've consistently over the years fallen back on the claim from a nuclear standpoint that all they want is nuclear energy. Yet they've continued time and time again to enrich their nuclear fuel well beyond what is needed for energy and in the threshold of nuclear weapons. So in the last round of negotiations a couple of weeks ago, the United States decided to throw down the gauntlet and just say, hey, listen, if you guys want nuclear energy and don't want a weapon, this is what we're going to do. We are going to offer to supply you with nuclear fuel in perpetuity for free. But as soon as you start enriching anything, the deal's off. Iran immediately said, no, we're not doing that, which tells you everything you need to know about this regime. They didn't want to take free fuel for nuclear energy in perpetuity. That clearly says that they wanted to enrich it past the levels of energy. So at that point, this administration decided we are done negotiating, and that's how we got where we are today. So what you're going to hear from all of these Democrat senators and congressmen is that this is an illegal war. And Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution gives sole power to Congress to declare war. Right. So Republicans said the same thing when Obama was bombing people. They said it when Biden was bombing people, and the Democrats didn't say a word. Now the tables have turned. Republicans say it's okay. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's the epitome of duplicity. So, but what's getting omitted by these Democrats and has been omitted by Republicans in the past by design is that Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution allows the president to take these actions as the commander in chief and the leader of the military. On top of that, there's a war powers resolution that was put into law back in 1973 that allows the president to take unilateral action on three conditions. Number one, he notifies Congress within 48 hours of taking that action and explains what happened, which he did. The military engagement does not last more than 60 days, up to 90 days if you use another 30 days to withdraw troops, but 60 to 90 days. And then the last one, which is not kind of set in stone, but is, everybody asks for, is you need to cite some sort of national emergency. You have to tell us why this was a threat to the United States and why you took that action. So the second part of their argument will say, this is unprecedented. And none of it's unprecedented. It wasn't unprecedented when Obama did it, when Biden did it. It had been done before, and it certainly is not unprecedented now. In fact, in 2011, Obama bombed Libya. He did notify Congress within 48 hours, but he continued to bomb them for 7 to 8 months, well beyond the 60-day threshold. He never made it out to be a national emergency. He said it was a humanitarian catastrophe, which technically falls outside the War Powers Act. Now, I agreed with the actions in Libya. I agreed that he had the right to do it. But in every Democrat who was in Congress at the time supported it. Now, every single Democrat who was in Congress in 2011 and is still in Congress in 2026 is, banging this drum of this is illegal and, that this is a war crime and all these other crazy things. So again, the duplicity is striking, and make no bones about it. If we have another Democrat president and he bombs somebody, Republicans will come out and say this is illegal, and it's just ridiculous all the way around, regardless of who's saying it. So where do we go from here? That's what everyone really wants to know. And all the reasons that we discussed, the ballistic missiles, the nuclear things, the attempt on the president, all these other things that Iran has done over the years, they all have one thing in common. This regime, this evil, terroristic, ideological, theocratic regime, and this engagement by the United States is about regime change, full stop, in my opinion. I don't see why else you do this unless you're going to take out the regime. And on top of that, if there's not regime change, then this is, in my opinion, all for nothing. If you don't remove this entire regime, then you should have not dropped a single bomb, period. If you're not willing to take this all the way to the end, then you should not have even started it. Because the logic here is simple. If the regime goes, all the other problems go. All the weapons to Russia go. All the gas, the oil to China goes. All the proxy terror groups go. Everything goes when you remove this regime. So, but it's not that simple, because even if this regime collapses, there is still the Islamic Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, who is tied to this theology and to this ideology. And it's, as long as the IRGC remains, it's very difficult to remove this regime in totality. So, so again, where do you go from there? So, how do you eliminate the IRGC without putting boots on the ground? If you do leave it up to the Iranian people to do it, how do you arm them? If this regime does in fact fall, how do you prevent a power vacuum? How do you prevent a civil war? People want detailed answers on that, but they're not going to get them, because no sane strategist, meaning Trump, Hegseth, Marco Rubio, or anyone else in that administration who I believe have a plan, they're not going to tell you that plan before it unfolds. So you get this rhetoric of they have no plan, they have no idea what they're doing. I believe that they do have a plan, right? And I believe that it ultimately comes down to faith, whether or not they have that plan. And again, I believe that there is, and I believe that because, like I said before, I believe it would be irrational to attempt to take out this regime without a front to back plan to do so. And based on the planning that I've seen them do with Venezuela and how that's playing out and how well they planned out those first strikes in Iran, there is evidence of long-term strategic thinking by this administration. I know there's critics out there that will disagree, and that's fine. But this is how I see it. I also have significant confidence in the Israeli intelligence agency, the Mossad, which has demonstrated extraordinary operational reach. and is quite possibly the best intelligence agency in the world, if not the history of the world. In my opinion, the CIA does not hold a candle to the capabilities of the Mossad. And if there's an organization in the world who can help engineer the final stages of this destabilization and the removal of this regime, it would be the Mossad. So here are my predictions. This military engagement does not last more than another month. I would say 3-4 weeks, 5 tops, but right around a month. The U.S. and Israel will continue eliminating leadership as they pop up, and this whack-a-mole approach will ultimately remove the existing power structure completely. Once that power structure is removed, there will be external pressure by, of course, U.S., Israel, but now I believe by Bahrain and Qatar and the UAE and the Saudis to fully remove this effort, because quite frankly, all of those surrounding countries are sick of Iran's bullshit as well. And during this conflict, Iran has launched missiles into those countries. So they have no empathy for that regime in any way, shape, or form. And there will be a coordinated effort, obviously, to dismantle the IRGC. So what form does that take? Nobody knows. No one publicly knows that. And if anyone claims they do, they don't. So now we wait, right? And I think 6 months from now, Iran is going to be a much different place. I think by the end of this year, the entire region of the Middle East is going to be a much different place. And this feels like phase 1 of something much larger. I believe there's going to be multiple phases to this that are not going to end when we are done bombing. I believe that those phases are going to be very, very dynamic in the way that they unfold. And as this evolves, I will follow this and do more episodes on it, because I think, there's going to be a lot of information to come. And a lot of people aren't going to understand the entire, like I said, these moves are not linear. They are layered. This is, and without being cliche, it is in a lot of ways 3D chess, because we're not just going to be looking at how Iran is affected, how the Middle East is affected. We're going to be watching how this affects the war in Ukraine by limiting Russia from having those weapons. And how does this affect China's economy by the end of the year? There's going to be a lot of different things in the way this is unfold. So in future episodes, I will go ahead and I'll break all of that down as we go through it. So, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Drop your comments and questions below. I will, as usual, respond to as many as I can. And again, thank you for listening. Subscribe, and please share this if you get the chance. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks again. Bye.